Hey dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with another chin wag. I'm so excited. This week I'm going to be chatting with Teresa Mulhern from Ireland. Bless her pointed head. I found Teresa through a fabulous YouTube channel makeup artist, Make Me Up Missa. And she, for the longest time, used to talk about her friend Teresa. And anytime there was green eyeshadow, green makeup of any kind, she talked about the Queen of Green. And it happened to be the first video I ever watched of hers was her review of the Scepter palette. And it was love at first sight, I just have to say. So without further ado, welcome, Teresa. How are you, doll?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. You've become a little bit of a sensation for that review.
Yeah, that's weirdly one of my most popular videos. And like I did it kind of because I have a Patreon group and I'm very active. We have like a little WhatsApp group. So I was like putting in videos with them and kind of going, okay, I've noticed this about this palette. What do you think? Should I do something on it? Would you guys be interested? And they're my hype queens and kings. And they were like, yes, do it. You go and do a video where you're comparing them. So I was like, okay, I'll do one eye with these shades and then one eye with the other shades that dupe them, but I won't say it until the end.
I watched it, blah, blah, blah. And you said, oh yeah, so none of these colors are these colors. And I was like, oh, like, I have to tell you, that was very telling, because you weren't dismissive, you weren't insulting. You, throughout the video on a couple of occasions, said how much you liked the Vivienne and how much you liked Be Perfect. Now, we started chatting on your YouTube feed, and then I think on Instagram as well. And you mentioned something about Juvia's Place and that you were getting their new quads, which kind of came out and were out of stock almost in a breath. And now they've been restocked. So I said to you, oh, when you get them in, we should do something together. You said, oh, let's do a collab. I'll do my makeup on Thursday and then we'll release them. And I was like, no, I want to talk to you. And that's how this got started. So when these quads came out, it's a good thing there was no one in my apartment. They would have lost toes. I just pushed people down by their face. Get out of my way. And
I was very similar because I was with my partner and we were sitting in the blistering heat outside of an Asian store in the car with my phone, just going, I have to put these into my basket. And he was like, can we not just go in and get the lentils? And I was like, no, this must be done first. Yeah. Priorities. So he knows just to stay quiet in the corner and just wait until I'm done. But bless him, he will look at the palettes and go, but they're the exact same. And I twitch, kind of going.
So speaking of makeup, we both bought some quads from Juvia's Place. I got all four. They were only $10 each. And I can't refuse, because we have the green one, which is stunning. And then we have the mint one, which is just as stunning. And then this gray one, I know you're probably going to say these two shimmers are too similar.
So you know me.
I know you already love her. Yeah. And then I also got the fourth one, which was the honey, because for a neutral palette, it's so rich.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Did you get all four?
I was very good and I was restrained and I just got the three. So I got everything except the orange one, because I was like, I need to do a video soon on my palette collection, because I know that I definitely have in excess of 300. So I need to cameth my tits, essentially.
Did you just say calm your tits?
Yeah.
I have a key ring that says that.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite phrases.
Yeah.
Slowly teaching my partner all of the Irish English phrases, and it's quite funny to hear somebody with a very thick Indian accent saying these things.
I just also want to say something else that I was very impressed with your videos, particularly because you wear glasses. You don't see a lot of people doing makeup with glasses or referencing glasses. You were talking about the Lowest Cosmetics eyelashes and how most of them were eyeglass friendly. And I can't believe that you don't have more followers just because of that.
I know, it's frankly a crying shame. I mean, I haven't been doing it for that long, about 2 years. So, and this is just, it's a little hobby of mine. So I'm very happy with the community that I have. Like I have a very lovely, supportive community. So I'm not really, it's not that I'm not bothered about numbers, but I don't think that's the be all and end all. You could have 5 million subscribers and not have the quality of people who are there to support and really educate as well. Like I have a lot of my subscribers who voice some really interesting opinions on things that I would have never thought of. And I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's what I want. I don't want a little echo chamber. And I've got that. So I'm quite happy with it, really.
What made you start to do a channel?
Okay, so I am a lecturer in psychology, and that is quite an intense job. Like there's a lot of work involved in that. And I realized, like I had spent 9 years in university between getting all of my degrees, and I realized that it had come to a point where I had rather unhealthily made that be a big part of my identity and my personality. And I thought to myself, well, okay, you can't actually do that. You can't have your job be the thing that defines you. And obviously all in the interim, I'd always found makeup fun and expressive and creative. And I thought to myself, okay, well, why don't you do something around this and try and build a community or get to know people in that way? And that was literally what it was. It was me attempting to understand that, you know, you're more than just one aspect of your life.
Were you a big fan of makeup anyway?
Oh, it was straight away makeup. Like I have been like following makeup for a really, really long time. Like I find it fun, creative, expressive. Like whenever I would go to conferences in psychology, people would say, oh, well, you know, you can find Teresa because she's the one that has the very bright, colorful makeup. And that's how people identified me at conferences and still do. So like it's always been a thing for me that I've enjoyed. So it was the natural kind of thing for me to get interested in.
Do you remember what the first makeup video you watched was?
I think, oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many that I would have watched over the years, but I think it probably would have been like a Nikki tutorials, which, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I can't really remember, but like, I do remember like a lot of the first videos of various YouTubers that I did watch that made me like, say, subscribe to them. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, with Missa, I remember that it was a video with the Friendcation palette. So like I remember that as being a very big one with Samantha March. I remember that it was her Will I Buy It series, and I thought that was quite interesting. So can't necessarily remember my very first makeup YouTube video that I watched, but I can remember a lot of the ones that made me kind of subscribe to people or that I found kind of interesting.
What amazes me, and this I'm more aware of this because of your reviews, is just how often new stuff is being released.
Oh yeah.
Like, do you ever get to a point where you're like, do we need to see more makeup, or do you love it?
I do definitely hit a point where I'm like, I think there's like an almost burnout of I can't see this anymore. Or I will often see something and think that is a reference to another palette. Or I mean, we saw even in the last month, there were 3 different little indie brands and they were all coming out with the same product, but like they were the exact same thing. There was 6 different duochrome liners.
Yeah.
From 3 different brands. And it was just interesting to even just see how they were pricing them differently. So I kind of get a bit frustrated when I see things like that. But on the other hand, then I do like seeing new brands like there's Minty Makeup, and that's like a trans-led makeup company. Like it's small, it's indie. I love seeing things like that popping up because I think often it's the little indie brands that are run by people who really care about makeup, that we start to see something really interesting and innovative, and we start to see really lovely formulas that aren't difficult to work with. Like I think a lot of the really big mainstream brands are so overhyped because they're not run by people who care about makeup in the same way that a lot of us do, that are like obsessive about it.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I actually enjoy your rants and raves, because it's European, so you're talking about some brands that we would never hear of over here. And then you also, you and your group have such a great reference to makeup. And for you guys to know, like almost instantly, oh, this is very similar to this palette.
And I think that's the thing. We have this group of people that are, and I mean, it comes back to what I was saying, which was the reason for wanting to do YouTube. And it was to find a community that cared about these things as much as I did. And I actually did. Didn't think I'd manage that. But I have found people that are as obsessive about these things as me. So they will get the references. They'll say, okay, that palette is very similar to this, but we know what this company is like, or this has better formulas, or they have less questionable ownership, or these could be cruelty free. So like little things like that I found are helpful. I like having people with me, because, and most of the time we don't necessarily always agree on things.
Yeah. I just want to say I'm cheating a little. I find with a lot of palettes, I'm one of those people, I think that every palette should have a black and a white in it. But when it comes to these little quads, I always think of these as completer palettes, or
like
palettes that have, yeah. So I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Alyssa Edwards palette for black and a darker brown. One thing I've been trying to do lately is copy Missa, her blending techniques, because she starts with the darkest color and then blends out to the lightest.
Oh, she's annoyingly talented.
Yeah. I was referred to her, somebody, I'm sure it was a Patreoner of mine, who said, oh, you need to watch Make Me Up Missa.
I think the one thing I don't like about her is that she will say, oh, I don't feel very creative, or I'm not very inspired. And then she's insane. And I'm sitting there just going, how dare you? Yeah. How dare you hurt my feelings? Like, and we're very good friends. It's coming up to actually the anniversary of when she came and visited me and hung out at my house, when Releases and Rants was essentially born, which was when she turned up, because she had been watching I used to do new makeup releases by myself, and she was like, oh, it's one of my favorites. And I was like, well, sit in and do it with me. And then I decided I don't want to do this by myself anymore. I prefer having people with me, because I like having people around and knowing what their opinion is. So it's coming up to the anniversary of when we would have first physically met, like in reality. So
you didn't know each other before you started your channel?
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know you have friends that you've developed that have channels, but first off, like who are the big ones that you like to try and catch a video of?
Yeah, Angelica Nyqvist.
Yeah.
I love her style. It's very, very colorful, but it's also quite effortless. I like watching Samantha March's content. I think she's very good at finding like base makeup. I'm watching a lot more smaller content creators.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, than bigger content creators, just because I just find they don't have as much of a, I don't know, it's a different thing to watch. I love Robert Welsh.
Yeah.
He's lovely. And I couldn't get over that he actually sent me a very lovely message.
I saw that.
Yeah, I nearly died. I was like, wait, what's happening? Am I dead? Are we going to be friends now? I obviously watch Elena as well.
I was going to say, I follow her now because of you. Because she was on your channel, but she does spectacular Fridays of Drag, where she does drag makeup.
Oh, she's insanely talented. I was so happy that Rock M. Sakura actually noticed her and like did a video reacting to her doing her makeup in his style. So I was like, yes, she needs lots of recognition. So I was very excited for her. But I do get annoyed with her because I'll bring her on to releases and rants, and we always have a theme. We always have a makeup theme just to kind of have some sort of kind of synchronicity. And I'll think to myself, oh, I've done really well now today. I've really pushed myself. I've done something a bit different. And then she'll come on and she'll make it look like I had a 4-year-old paint my face in comparison. And I'm just like, well, why did I bother? Why did I even try? But I remember this time, well, it would have been a little over a year ago, we were all doing challenges to try and push ourselves makeup-wise. And obviously we were all stuck inside because of the pandemic. Right. And the theme was Harry Potter. So everyone was like, doing, like red and gold or green and silver. Yeah. And Elena just was like, oh, I'm a dragon now. And she had taken like surgical tape and like padding and stuff that was just around her apartment and just made herself into a dragon.
Hilarious.
And I was like, how did you do that? I'll never understand it. So basically what I'm saying is she's not allowed on my channel anymore because it's really upset me at this point.
What are your favorite makeup brands? Which do you like to use the most?
I always have Lois Cosmetics nearby. It's one of my go-tos, either if it's the brushes or the actual like palettes. Full disclosure, I'm very friendly with Lois. She's a very, very nice person. And I just get excited with whatever they do.
I just need to have a minute to tell you, this is something that you've influenced me on, because I've had this forever and never used it, but a makeup switcher.
Aren't they the best?
I used to have 40 brushes that I needed to clean when I was done. It's like, I have got a life here.
I'm telling you, it's the best thing ever. Like I was explaining it to quite a few of my friends, and they were like, oh God, why did I not get this before? And I'm like, how have you not got this before? It's so good.
I know you said you like the Lois Cosmetics brand. Do you have a brand of brushes you like?
Jessup.
Which ones?
I love the Jessup brushes.
Are they a European brand?
No, you can get them on, believe it or not, AliExpress.
I've not heard of them. I mean, I probably have, just not noticed.
Oh my God, get them. They're cheap and they're very, very good. My favorite brush from them, I actually ended up using it today because I'm always using it, is this one. Look at how nice that is for like a little detailer.
Oh, I love those kind of brushes.
You can get a pack with about 18 brushes for, I think it's like £14. I'm just telling you, they are very, very, very good. And they have quite a few of them here. Like say, for instance, this is their Jessup Concealer Buffer, and it is a dupe for the Zoeva.
Wow. Wow. I have, I don't have a brand of brush that I like, but I do like styles of brushes. And this one is an elf brush, but that little,
oh yes,
that little smudgy, like when you can get right in there.
I will say though, I am that idiot who just goes, oh, a new brush set? Oh, well, I'll get more. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pots of brushes in front of me. Do I need more? No. Will I get more? Probably.
Yeah. What's your worst thing to do? What do you hate doing the most?
As in makeup or just in general?
In makeup.
In makeup. I don't think there's anything I necessarily hate. I think it's more like I struggle doing tedious looks. You know how like Missa will sit there and she'll be there like, I've been doing this for 4 hours. I could not sit and do something for 4 hours. I do not have the attention span.
No.
And I'm also like, I should be doing other things. So if it's like a really complex look, I'm out, I'm gone, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I lose interest. But there's nothing that I necessarily am like, ugh, I don't like doing this part of things. Like, I think the thing that I do the most is my eyes. And then the rest of my face is fairly like, I don't really do a lot with it. I'm like, oh, I don't even really do my brows because I'm like, they're there. They don't really need much. Just put a bit of like, what you call it, gel through them to make them be happy caterpillars.
And there you go. There's our finished looks. Teresa Mulhern joining me all the way from the west side of Ireland. What's the town you're from again?
Well, the county is Mayo, but the village I'm from is Carrigaru, which is Irish for the rough quarter. So don't mess with me. Don't mess
with her. She'll get you. We were using, during our chin wag, the quads from Juvia's place. Now, I do want to say you did a review of these quads. I'm putting the link up here because if you haven't been to Teresa's YouTube channel, then I can't think of a better reason to start than with her reviewing a Juvia's Place product. Well, Teresa, I just want to thank you so much for spending this time with me and having a chin wag. And I'm sure we'll do this again sometime soon.
If you're up to it, if you would ever like to join me on Releases and Rants,
I think the answer is yes.
I'm excited.
Well, you heard it here first. This is not the last you'll see of Teresa and Wilma on the same screen. Brace yourselves, world.
You're stuck with me now.
I'm okay with that. Thank you, my darling. I just love you so much. And until next time, miss me.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.